final game of the day coming your way. It is Intrepid Fox versus GamersOrigin. And I think it's difficult to assess this one. I don't think Intrepid Fox come from a place of like insane strength. They obviously came through the play-ins. They're the second team coming from the GLL. They're a lot more scrappy, a lot more brawl heavy than We Love Gaming. And GamersOrigin are the second seed from the LFL. You know, a region that is incredibly strong, but we didn't see them perform yesterday. You know, it's difficult to assess the power level of GamersOrigin right now. Yeah,
I think it's definitely a tough one. I think in general, I came into this tournament thinking France are the region to beat, not just because they're reigning champions. I thought the teams looked extremely good, but it's been a bit hit or miss, in all honesty, so far in the group stages. And I'm not sure, because I think even this match, I think, is heavily favored towards GamersOrigin, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that the region as a whole is as strong as they were in spring, and that is my concern for them.
And what you're telling me is that this needs to be dominant from GamersOrigin.
It has to be in terms of setting the story for France, but also from a point of view, if you lose this, you're actually in a really rough spot in the group.
Yeah, you don't want to go 0-2 down in the first.
Yeah, I mean, that is really bad, in all honesty. That is like, you have to win every game from then on to make sure things are in our hands. So a dangerous spot, but they are still heavy favorites. I can't sell it any other way. This team is heavy favorites for this, but they need a win. They absolutely need a win.
There are a couple of good players for Intrepid Fox, though, right? You know, we are looking like towards the jungle in the mid lane potentially. Top side of the map is quite top side of the map is quite good for Intrepid Fox.
I think LeBron is one they really play around, a big star player for them. And in this meta, he can pick these sort of carry farming junglers, get really strong. He can also lean towards top lane. Bako is someone who will play these split pushes, and Shemek, not always been a convincing player in the top lane, does play carries, but there has been periods where he's kind of defaulted back to tank. So there is potential for Intrepid Fox, and if it's going to be anywhere, it is through there.
But as you said, we don't want to oversell this. Like, this is definitely a GamersOrigin favored matchup. We're expecting them to be coming out on top here. But as we've seen from the GLL in general, they can surprise us. Greece has thrown some surprises our way already. WLG on the board, for instance. Again, they wouldn't be the first Greek team to qualify. I can't say it properly. Panathinaikos? I can't. Look,
I'll leave you.
You know that team that I'm talking about. Summer 2018, they actually qualified out of groups. So obviously looking to follow in the footsteps of them way back when. But it's the best chance that the GLL have got. With two teams in groups, this is one of the most represented European Masters that they've ever had.
Yeah, and statistically, the chance they make it out of groups is 50-50.
Now double.
It's 50-50. They either do or they don't.
Exactly. There you go.
But speaking of draft, we are now. Punisher banned away from the Cassiopeia, the Aurelia. That is going to be bogged down against him. And then we also see a ban thrown towards LeBron in that jungle pick. GamersOrigin instantly picking up the Kalista for SMILEY. Veteran player, a lot of experience. And I think him and HustlinbeasT, I think that's arguably one of the best duos I've seen him in. They've been playing together for quite a long time, and it has really shown in their performance in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been a duo for as long as I can remember. They've got a lot of experience. They didn't have the best performance yesterday. It wasn't the height of these guys' careers, but you can see, taking a leaf out of Mouse's book, where they are just looking to play through bot lane dominance. But the Ashe is available, classically picked up to try and negate some of that early pressure that Kalista can put down through ranging and slowing down. And Intrepid Fox are very happy to lock that in.
It'll be interesting to see what they take here. There's options like the Twisted Fate is a common pickup to try and deal with the Kalista in the bot lane. You could also pursue something with map pressure like the Galio, or just go for something that's pretty more safe, even a jungle priority for LeBron. I don't think we'll see support here. I expect to see that coming in the third pick as a counter, but looks like instead they're going to go for this denial with the Thresh. There's strength to it. Thresh is strong in isolation, but it does mean that potentially you can see GamersOrigin go for, you know, something like a Blitzcrank. Even the Nautilus has a decent matchup into him. I personally prefer leaning towards a counter pick, and they could have taken that third. We'll have to see how this does pan out. It does mean they have that safety element, though, for the Ashe.
You are always, I guess, scared of the Kalista Thresh lane. It is probably one of the more powerful combinations that you can throw down there. But like you said, it's not like there's no counterplay whatsoever. There is definitely options on the table. bluezor, something we haven't actually touched on, a very experienced jungler, especially at the European Masters level. He's going to get his hands on Graves. And as you mentioned, the Nautilus, it's a very classic pickup when you don't get your hands on the Thresh. Very happy to take that on third side blue pick.
And it's specifically decent into the Thresh matchup because you can just engage onto him and beat him up. Nautilus is tankier. He is able to withstand more for beating, so it means you don't have to necessarily target the AD carry. He's going to have that Lantern safety. It puts him in a spot where GamersOrigin are very much still all gears are go at the moment. And we do see LeBron go for that Kha'Zix in the jungle, so a champion I would expect to see from him, very carry-oriented, and it is his signature pick, so if you can find momentum, if you can find space to sort of flourish, it can be devastating.
Yeah, and also it's kind of leaning into what you mentioned about LeBron, kind of a star player for this roster, expecting him to take the mantle of the carry. And again, on this Kha'Zix, it's definitely a pick that you can do that with. We're going to start to see mid lane chomped away at here with the Orianna going down the drain. I'm expecting maybe an Azir as well, unless they're looking to blind pick that here for Punisher. But we'll see what happens, just trying to limit that pool a little bit.
Yeah, interesting to see the Malphite come out. It's something that you can actually take into the Ashe specifically, but I guess Kalista is also sort of burdened by the fact that Malphite has that essential point-and-click CC. I think ultimately Intrepid Fox, I feel like the first few picks I'm kind of favoring GamersOrigin, but Intrepid Fox have got the Kha'Zix they wanted, and now I feel like Red side is very favored in these last few because they can go for a strong blind and then go for counter pick in whichever lane. Banning away the Orianna and the Syndra, I get the vibe that they're potentially going for a mid laner here. I think Twisted Fate could actually be the pick they pull out in this scenario if it's not banned away, because both Orianna and Syndra are decent into that matchup.
They have the Corki for Punisher as well, which I know that he does really like, so we always got to keep our eyes on that. I would be thinking like Twisted Fate, Azir, or Corki. You know, one of those three is likely going to be coming through. The Camille gets banned away.
Makes sense. So, from the counter pick regard, I think it makes a lot of sense to deny that one away. We'll just have to see what Intrepid Fox want to get their hand on. It's sort of dependent. You can lean towards either side, but I tend to feel like going towards Bako with a potential carry you can use as a split pusher is a great win condition for the team, especially when the enemy team has a Kalista. It kind of says you guys need to crush early, or we have multiple win conditions to lean into later on.
Very interesting. Now, I suppose in essence that is flexible.
Yeah.
So they're not giving away a huge amount here, but maybe Punisher taking a leaf out of Leader's book after the game yesterday, happy to move towards the Sylas.
A lot of confidence to take that blind, and let's just see what GamersOrigin answers with. If the expectation is potentially that goes top, you don't want to take a tank. Sylas actually sort of came back initially into the meta as a pick to answer these tanks in the top lane, because you steal like an Ornn's ultimate, but with AP ratios, you actually do more damage because you're building that AP. We do see Wukong coming in, so something we've seen sort of fall a little bit out of the meta, but still has a ton of team fighting power, great backline access, a lot of disruption, and also should be okay into this matchup against the Sylas, especially in the extended trades is normally where the Sylas likes to flourish. Wukong can handle those.
And toucouille here now locking in his mid lane pick. We'll have to see what he goes for. His LeBlanc is open. Actually, this is something that toucouille often doesn't get his hands on. So LeBlanc locked in here for GamersOrigin. That rounds out their composition as a whole, and we'll have to see what Intrepid Fox do in response, whether they are going to be sending that Sylas mid or top.
Yeah, I think Sylas a little bit difficult actually into the LeBlanc matchup because you can just get chained down and bullied, but looks like they want to go for that potential split push we're talking about. I think that's the right decision because you want that win condition from Bako and obviously Jax. Not quite as much as the Camille. I think when I look at the big split pushers, when there's like Camille, Jax, Fiora, in terms of team fighting power, Camille, it's that order, Camille, Jax, Fiora. Yeah. So he can join them. He's not quite as good as having the Hextech ultimatum, but he can be that asset while also being an absolute monster in the side lane. So I think Intrepid Fox have given themselves win conditions, but GamersOrigin, I'm looking at that early game and it is looking destructive.
What are we expecting then? Set me up for what I'm expecting to see from both GamersOrigin and Intrepid Fox. Like, are we expecting bot lane dives very early on here?
I want to see a ton of aggression from bluezor. I think you have a bot lane who are looking to challenge, you have a mid lane who's also looking to do so. Play with your priority, lean into that, set up potential ganks, and then just really make LeBron's life hell. We see Kha'Zix is sometimes just looking to farm up. Don't let that happen. And just keep the pace, and it's going to be similar to the mouse game in that we want to see this Kalista propped up to be a monster in the mid game and give Intrepid Fox no room to breathe. You want to see bot lane tower down early, swap to top, and then suddenly Bako doesn't have a lane to farm in.
Well, hopefully that is what they can execute on. But in terms of Intrepid Fox, is this purely playing through the split push game? Where do Intrepid Fox need to pinpoint to try and get a win in this matchup? I
think they are going to be a little bit on the defensive in the early game. I don't think their tools are necessarily bad, especially when it comes to the bot lane, but it's just the matchup is a bit of a back foot. I think you want to be tracking bluezor and seeing what he's trying to do and either look to counter gank or avoid him. And that's really where the Kha'Zix can look to flourish in this situation.
And obviously, we talked a little bit about it beforehand, but the LFL have set expectations for themselves. The LFL are coming in as the defending champion regions. LDLC lost in an absolutely nutty game earlier in the day. And GamersOrigin, they want to redeem themselves from yesterday. You know, the LFL come in probably with the highest weight of expectations on their shoulders. And obviously, like right now, Misfits Premier, the first seed living up to that. But GamersOrigin LDLC just starting to struggle ever so slightly at the start of this. Whereas Greece, they came in, the GLL came in with little expectations. There wasn't much expected of WLG and Intrepid Fox, but so far WLG have started to bring that region hope. We know we're starting to see the Greek fans really rally around their two teams in this group stages. And, you know, Intrepid Fox, they really could look to strike the hammer here and make this group very interesting.
Absolutely could. And speaking of making things interesting, GamersOrigin looking for the invade level 1. They are strong enough to do this. They've got good power in their champions. They're going to black out over.
The flash in straight away as well as LeBlanc is forced over the wall. Now bluezor is going to be pushed back. Should just secure the blue buff. LeBron getting in very aggressively in this. LeBron. Oh, he actually gets it. He smites away. First blood does go over to bluezor here. And they may even end up getting 2 as the flash comes through the wall. And I think bluezor will get that double kill comes through. And now Gagai forced back under the tower. I don't think he'll go down, but I mean, you traded blue buff for first blood and another kill.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron went in, he wanted to deny the blue, get that experience for himself. I can kind of see the thought process, because even though he died in that scenario, he does actually get back on the map and he's able to get more. So I love this confidence. So look at Hustling, flashes over the blue, just straight in. I think the target selection was a bit off. When LeBron flashes away, bluezor should have switched to Kyouma, and then they would have probably just won out this entire play. But either way, LeBron is like, I'm getting that blue buff, and Intrepid Fox managed to turn it around onto the Nautilus. But imagine that same play if LeBron doesn't get the blue. Imagine if he missed a smite there. This would be disastrous for Intrepid Fox. So I kind of feel like they coin flipped that one a little bit, in all honesty, but GamersOrigin still coming out ahead.
Fancy moves on our HyperX replay there. Thank you very much, observers. I love having the LEC observers on hand here because they make some smurf replays.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I love the angles, just, you know, switching it up, seeing in from how many different viewpoints that was int. But
got no chill, mate. You got absolutely no chill. bluezor, though, confident off the back of that earlier engage, just looking to put a bit of aggression down. But that's one of the benefits of Ashe.
He's 2-0, the Graves, already. I mean, I was talking about, I want to see bluezor aggressive. I want to see him challenging with these carries in the bot and mid he can really play through. This is a good start. This is by all means a good start. And already you can see bot lane, they got priority. Mid lane, they got priority. Go are completely fine in this situation.
However, he will be spotted out in the blue side jungle here, so I'm expecting LeBron to respond and head towards the blue side jungle after taking that River Scuttler, and actually bluezor just looking to deny as many camps as possible. HustlinbeasT jumping in, the aggression from the Intrepid Fox bot lane, looking to defend their blue side jungle, just not good right now. And Kyouma taken very low. The pull comes through, but it's not really going to mean much here. bluezor and HustlinbeasT will just exit that jungle, but again, it has given LeBron time to go and respond and clear some camps on that blue side of Go.
Yeah, and it means they're sort of trading across the map, and this here at Shemek, you can see, although there's going to be a wave crashing from Bako, there's a big CS lead. If Shemek gets denied this, he's going to really be hitting. So I actually want to see LeBron potentially looking to threaten a dive in this situation. That is a way that you can actually look to find success on the other side of the map. But ultimately, Go are really hurting the bot lane of Intrepid Fox right now, not really giving them any space at all.
And we said that that was going to be a focus with this Kalista Thresh, just looking to put pressure down as much as possible. Unfortunately, the blue buff has now become the target for LeBron, so I don't think that dive is on the cards. It was probably a little risky as well, with that Wukong being quite slippery in those dive scenarios, and Shemek will get away with farming under this turret for free. Yeah,
Shemek actually took a good trade there, which put him on the back foot, but, you know, Go have no chill. They are going to dive on the other side of the map. You can see toucoulle's actually moving over to assist. Good luck with this.
The teleport's coming through, I think. Gagai just goes down here. They're going to take the second kill. This might be teleporting to your death here for Punisher, who's trying to at least clear the wave. It's a 2-for-1, but the kill goes over to Kyouma, and you're not that worried about the Thresh getting killed.
I just love the sacrificial play from HustlinbeasT. He knows that his life is not important, and he will just go in aggressive in this situation. He just walks in, no flash. He knows he is likely going to die in this situation. He doesn't care. He roots Gagai, follow-up comes in very low. Kyouma doing his best to ensure HustlinbeasT dies. But at the end of the day, the AD carry dying is the pivotal thing here. It's a 2-for-1 trade, but yeah, you denied all that farm in the tower, and I mean, look at the CS difference bot lane.
Oh my gosh. 18-42, and Ashe doesn't even get too much of a wave to bounce to, you know, like, this is pretty grim. You know, do you remember what we said? You know, we said, like, Kalista, Nautilus were expecting bot lane dives. You wanted to see bot lane aggression. Well, they're doing it, and it's working.
And it is working well. And this is the momentum we wanted to see, but the critical thing is it's not just the fact that we expected, you know, Kalista to be coming out ahead. bluezor is so incredibly strong on this Graves, and realistically, it's not giving much room for the Kha'Zix to really do anything, because if you show up to a skirmish and the Graves is there, he will just pop you.
He's going to again head into that bluezor jungle. Just looking to...
I like clear win conditions, and then you just like, let's play to them. Let's hit them over the head with the frying pan.
So many times.
So many times. And actually Go really hitting here as well. They're not even opting to crush the wave and dive. They're actually, because it's pushing out towards them, they were just stalling it for a bit of time and denying even more farm here. And this is why such a big CS lead is built up. And Go, no, they can do whatever they want. If they want to shove it in, if they want to assist with Dragon, they can. If they want to deny, they can. I mean, that says it all. That literally says it all. That's how I would feel in this bot lane situation. It's not fun, and in fairness, I'm not going to put this on Gagai and Kyouma. I'm not going to say this is purely their fault, because it was really the aggressive invade from GamersOrigin, and then their translation from that has really punished this bot lane. It's not being necessarily a 2v2, it's been a 3 or 4v2.
What I really like, though, is the pace setting from GamersOrigin. Like, they came in level 1 to set the tempo, and they have continued that tempo. Like, they have not let off the gas when it comes to punishing that bot lane. And look at this, blue side jungle. This is not Kha'Zix's blue side jungle. They're basically vertical jungling at this point, and I would give credit to LeBron to understanding that, but they've lost so much pressure on bot.
But the big thing is, I mean, they have built up a massive CS advantage top lane, but I would like to see a little bit more in this situation. But critically, I mean, normally vertical jungling happens early, and then it's normally on the second rotation of spawns, it ends up stopping. It's still going and going and going. And Go are just not letting up. And realistically, Intrepid Fox like, cool, you can have our bot side jungle. I guess we'll just leave it to you. And honestly, it's feeling pretty painful at the moment. And GamersOrigin, you know, Herald spawning, they don't care. They are not swapping. They're not opting out of this 2v2. Exactly.
They're happy to continue to punish. And I think one of the questions that we have, you know, is like, okay, you're trading bot lane pressure for top lane pressure, and as you said, like, Jax has been given a small advantage on this top side. Oh, they're just going in. I mean, they're just dead, surely. If they get that Ren, maybe Ignite's going to do the work. He'll drag him back out with Fate's Cool, and HustlinbeasT picks up the kill. Goodness me.
Smiley had flash. He could have flashed in and rendered, and he knew he didn't even need to.
No.
Just the absolute confidence. That hook, by the way, from Hustlin was beautiful to find it. Kind of threaded the needle there. But it's just a bit of domination at this point, and Punisher trying to find something.
That is aggressive, and bluezor picks up the kill. LeBron there, too little, too late. He's maybe going to look for toucouille, but he will get it eventually. He'll take the kill back, but it is a lot of resources invested just to purely trade one kill.
Yeah, but you know, by all means, I'd take it in terms of Intrepid Fox. A 1-for-1 when you're kind of getting smashed across the map is by all means a good thing, especially with how rough bot lane is looking. And we'll see that replay again. Gagai thinks he's safe behind the minions.
Oh, that's a beautiful hook.
Starts the needle, and again, Smiley could have flashed in and rendered to take this kill. Knows he doesn't need to. Ignite is enough damage. Ult to take HustlinbeasT out from the tower range. And it's just, you can see the synergy between these two. You can see the coordination. It's just the skill as well.
So close again. Oh my.
Scary times.
I know. I think, you know, what I really love is what you mentioned, that most teams by this time would have rotated to Rift Herald. They'd look to play around neutrals. I love the heads up from GamersOrigin to say, let's twist the knife.
Yeah.
Let's really make them bleed on that bottom side of the map. And Smiley and HustlinbeasT are just in such a strong position. And now LeBron's reacted, but this is quite a late reaction for Rift Herald. It's been up for 1 minute, and now you've given time for bluezor to respond.
Yeah, and now actually the bot lane's gone for a reset. And we could see them potentially move in through mid and rotate up top. You can actually see HustlinbeasT heading over, so don't even necessarily need to go all the way. They just need to be walking there, so if a fight does break out, they are guaranteed victory. And actually, you see, look at Smiley on the map. He's actually changed. He's like, it's done. It's taken. Yeah. You know, we walked in that direction. It's already gone down. I'm going to head bot. HustlinbeasT will spend a little bit of time around the mid lane, but ultimately, no real contestation from Intrepid Fox. And one of my question marks has to be, you know, it came in the draft, they early prioritized that Thresh. It did mean that there was counter pick in terms of supports for GamersOrigin. They're able to choose the matchup after taking that really strong Kalista pick, and then on top of that, Punisher not picking a Roman champion. I mean,
it's a 10-minute Blade of the Ring King again, baby, and that is an easy kill for Smiley.
And it's like, maybe if Punisher had a pick to have more global pressure, but as I'm saying, there's more coming in.
They're going to try and stop that Lancing from coming through. LeBron, no way to escape here. Surely goes down. The invisibility will only keep you so safe. And honestly, this is absolute dominance. Brilliant hook from HustlinbeasT again. I don't know how far they can follow up on this as Kyouma gets dragged down. HustlinbeasT really looking for it as they'll go for the flash. With the dragon spawning in a minute, the dominance from GamersOrigin is really feeling it.
I mean, this is brutal. This is really brutal, and SMILEY just alone time with the turret, destroying it. I mean, the gold lead is pretty significant, basically everywhere but top. It's pretty significant. And on top of that, it's not just that, it's a level lead as well. We have a 2-level lead for SMILEY over Gagai at this point.
Oh my word. And look, they're there again. They are there again. Gagai cannot step into lane. It is a 40 CS lead for XD SMILEY.
bluezor actually went for the Gromp instead because it's worth more gold.
This doesn't feel great. It does not feel great. But I want to loop it back to what we set up at the start, you know, what we talked about. We wanted to see this from GamersOrigin. This needed to happen for the LFL to retain that fear that they're going to invoke as being one of the strongest regions in Europe. We expected this versus Intrepid Fox.
Yeah, because after the Misfits game earlier against WLG, I was a little bit hesitant on the hype train for the LFL, but this is the convincing sort of performance we expected. This is what we want to see, and I think it's very important that this was a convincing win for GamersOrigin in setting that standard. But also when we're looking at the groups, you know, they are 0-1, they're tied in score with Intrepid Fox. That's not where we expected them to be. They need to come out with this win, and the performance so far is very much setting up for it.
But quietly while this has been happening, obviously top side of the map has gone very heavily in favor of Bako. That CS advantage that you see in the bot lane, it's similar to the CS advantage that you're seeing for Bako in the top lane. He's frozen the lane, but the problem is he needs so much time to even activate his win condition, and now you can see SMILEY's going to head up towards there as well to try and put a bit of pressure on him. You know, I don't know if Bako doing well is going to be good. Look, I was going to go into this, but honestly, Kyouma's just dead. I mean, there's not much more you can say about it. He doesn't have that flash available. bluezor will pick it up. Nothing you can do there if you're in Intrepid Fox.
And it is a win condition. You know, if we get to the later stage of the game, there is a universe in which Intrepid Fox wins, but you know, there's not many realities in which that comes true because there's just so much pressure from GamersOrigin, and they're not letting up. It's not like they just won bot lane and went, cool, let's chill for the next 10 minutes. You can see what they're doing here mid lane. Punisher, did you see how much damage from that Graves there?
Cross map, oh, it does actually hit onto bluezor, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the team has already done the work. Bako comes in, he's looking for it, but a lovely cyclone to stop it from really connecting. The rest of the team should surely clean up. A second charge comes out. Bako forced back under that second tier turret. Trade 1 for 1 at the end of, 2 for 2 at the end of the day, but you get so much more out of it if you're GamersOrigin.
Yeah, they're getting 2 towers here. The gold lead is really blowing up at this point. 6,000 lead at 13 minutes is absolutely monstrous, and they're just going to head towards that second dragon.
I kind of want to see, yeah, they've taken 14 plates. If he gets the turret, they've taken all 15.
Yeah. And it's a little bit of an overreach here. The tower's still not down. HustlinbeasT goes a bit too deep when the Kalista's not there to offer you that safety net, and Bako actually joins on a really nice TP. It gets a bit messy, but the end result is it's still GamersOrigin far enough ahead that it doesn't matter. The Herald charges come through, and then it's just Intrepid Fox running away. And as we saw on the little picture-in-picture, it is that third tower going down. That is 15 plates. 15 plates for GamersOrigin. Every single piece of extra gold scraped off the map. And that second dragon, like you said, being focused down. SMILEY right now, you know, I'd be worried. I mean, LeBron's going in. They will have the isolation damage here as Punisher jumps in. SMILEY, I don't think that flash is going to help you. And now toucouille comes through and gets taken down very low. This is a good response from Intrepid Fox. He jumps in, and now they've isolated everybody on GamersOrigin. A little bit of an overreach by the French team, and a double kill coming through from LeBron. That's actually huge. They got a lot of shutdown gold from that, and a big oversight. SMILEY, they put him in the side lane alone for a long time, and I think he kind of just got used to the fact that, oh, we're not being challenged, oh, the game's over. You know, I was comparing to that Misfits performance earlier where they were really far ahead and then it got a little bit messy. After that play, it started to look a little bit similar. I mean, you don't want to be isolated as a Kalista, especially not against a Kha'Zix and that Sylas as well. And then toucouille opts into the play afterwards when you've already lost that AD carry, ends up going down as well, and it's just a very scattered play from the side of GamersOrigin. This is clearly when you're in that mindset that the game is already over, but I'm glad to see that Intrepid Fox win in the mindset the game is over. They're in the mindset that we still have a chance of win condition, and silently they've started to pick up a lot of gold on this top side of the map. When we're looking at Bako, when we're looking at LeBron and Punisher, there's a fair amount. Not quite as much as GamersOrigin, obviously, but they're starting to pull something. And, you know, it's impressive that they can still look for those players and still actively seek avenues back into the game, because if I was in this game, I'd be like, oh, well, we've just lost 15 plates. You know? Have you look at the schedule and be like, so who's our next game? But in honesty, I think you have to sort of weather the storm here. You have to sort of say, right, how do we win from here? that is the question you have to ask. You don't think about what happened in the game. You don't think about how the fact your bot lane got really punished. You think, how do we win from here? And I think the answer is finding those skirmishes, those picks where you have a numbers advantage is the way they can do so, especially with things like the Kha'Zix, who is quite fed at this point. He's actually got a fair amount of items with, well, I mean, it's 2, but having that Dustblade finished is pretty significant.
Flash in on to the Sylas. Punisher will go down. Nothing you can do about it if you're Intrepid Fox, and it'll be another turret falling for GamersOrigin.
And I mean, that's rough, because I just said that, you know, Intrepid Fox wanted the picks, GamersOrigin then answer back, and they also get a turret. So, still looking like a difficult game.
Yeah.
But we've seen some life, just need to see a little bit more, but GamersOrigin just going to keep stomping it down, going to head towards the Herald. And at this point, there is only 1 tower outside the base of Intrepid Fox. That is a lot to have at this point in the game. Normally, the outer towers can go down fairly easily, but it's those inner ones that they can struggle with. They've already taken 2, and with Herald now in pocket, they could have 6 towers done pre-20 minutes, which is, it's not just significant in terms of gold, but also in terms of map pressure. You got to think of the towers as like a semi-safe haven you can rely on. With none of them outside your base, you could see a situation where GamersOrigin just lock you into your base, and you're never going to be able to contest those neutral objectives.
And also, it kind of nullifies that win condition of Jax. Like, if he's constantly under pressure, you can never split push properly. And there you go, exactly like you said it. HustlinbeasT coming through, maybe looking for that hook, but Jax is aware. He's going to back off, and I don't think HustlinbeasT is going to go much further.
That's the thing. He can run back to that inner tower. But if that inner tower wasn't there, they could have kept chasing, potentially. And I think this is the last lane that he's sort of feeling semi-safe in, and they're instantly putting the pressure down onto it.
But, you know, like we said, if there was one avenue back into this game, it's probably through a side lane win condition, like at the very least. But Bako's never going to get the opportunity to push out. He's just never going to be in a situation where a Jax split push is going to be a relevant thing.
Trying to fish for something there for Intrepid Fox. I think this is just gone, in all honesty. We do see them actually 4 members that defend. The engage comes in, though.
Oh, yeah, looking for it with Shemek on the back line. They're going to take Kyouma very low. Surely goes down as bluezor's ultimate will find the execute. The rest of Intrepid Fox know they can't fight this. SMILEY untouched. HustlinbeasT just that forward-facing tank goes straight in onto Punisher. Bako taken low as well. He may not drop to the ignite, but the damage is done. They will get the inhibitor turret, and they're still going. As HustlinbeasT is thrown in with the Fate's Call. The inhibitor is the real target, though, and GamersOrigin will walk away with it. Or they won't, but you know.
bluezor still actually has the Herald available. They could have taken that inhibitor, and I think the decision was made not to, because ultimately it's just feeding more farm potentially to this side of Intrepid Fox. So instead they opt to walk away, but they got the towers. That's even more than I expected. I was talking about having the 6 outer towers. They go for the 7, and they actually break the base here. Now, Intrepid Fox again fishing for something. But GamersOrigin are also looking for...
I feel like you're fishing for sharks right now if you're fishing as Intrepid Fox, and they bite, my friends. That is a huge engage coming through. The first kill does go over to Punisher, and actually SMILEY taken down. Maybe you are shark killers yourselves. toucouille taken low. On the backside of the fight, though, you've still got bluezor. The triple kill, looking for the quadra as Bako chasing down toucouille. The quadra kill! Can this be the second Graves Penta? He's looking for it. LeBron won't let it happen. He just dropped Rift Herald. Get the Penta, my man! Get the Penta! He's going for it. He gets the Penta kill! Another Graves Pentakill in the European Masters. bluezor takes it, and the Rift Herald gets dropped.
bluezor just huge in this game for minute 1, and we can see the replay of this. Honestly, the engage comes in from GamersOrigin, but it's a quick answer back from Intrepid Fox. They start to put damage on HustlinbeasT and Bako. Beautiful flank here. What actually happens is he starts chasing toucouille, and he goes for the clone, and then HustlinbeasT is just landing CC, and we see bluezor starting to take over this fight. The damage is there from the Graves. The sustained damage in these fights is there for the cleanup, and it's honestly just huge from him. He is so fed. He even has time to throw down the Rift Herald. And look at toucouille. He could have actually killed LeBron there, and instead just obsolete. The sheer swagger from placing the Herald down mid-fight, chasing your Penta, just for the highlight reel.
Just has enough time to drop it. Has enough time. I wonder if
it's like, give me a minute.
I wonder if he thought it was sweeper, you know. I wonder if he thought it was sweeper for the Kha'Zix, and he was like, I'm gonna...
No. We don't fall for those storylines. It was clearly a power move.
It was clearly a power move. Absolutely. GamersOrigin in complete control. The scoreline of 18-10 may have you think otherwise, but this has been nothing other than a GamersOrigin dominance. as they go in and again, the ultimate comes through. It's going to be Kyouma, who's not had a good game. The bot lane has been severely punished by GamersOrigin, and they'll pick up the kill with relative ease.
I mean, I'm just loving how much we're seeing teams challenge and look to pick these fights and these skirmishes, and GamersOrigin are doing a really good job of it, but it's not like Intrepid Fox didn't have moments where they answered back. I think that's the thing to say, is that, yes, this is overwhelmingly favored towards GamersOrigin right now, the stakes in this game, but there have been moments for Intrepid Fox. It is looking pretty dire right now with a 10k gold lead. He's fishing potentially to try and find something. I think LeBron and Punisher aren't willing to go alone. Ooh!
He just disappeared! He's not even done. toucouille looking for more here onto Punisher. And we're chasing him through that blue side jungle. Absolutely disgusting damage coming out of that LeBlanc here.
Few things like a fed LeBlanc. We actually saw the arrow coming in. Few things like a fed LeBlanc, especially one who's on this big spike. You got the double pen, the Oblivion Orb, and those Sork Shoes. You got a Medjai's as well, just in case you weren't strong enough. Kyouma again throwing up that flag. It's feeling rough. It's feeling rough right now. Intrepid Fox, you know, we gave them a lot of alternative win conditions. Your base is being destroyed right now. It's now or never if you're going to take a fight. You have to go for it and hope for the best.
You could be my life coach with now or never in this situation, Dan, because it's very clearly a never. There's a nice hook, though. Stick that things off. It's straight onto bluezor. Looking for a flank here from LeBron. Looking for that isolation onto SMILEY, who does get taken down but doesn't die. toucouille on a killing spree on that LeBlanc. It is desperation for Intrepid Fox. What does the Fox say? Well, absolutely nothing, because they're all dead as GamersOrigin push through the base, the LFL back to their dominance, and they'll take this game, and they'll go 1-1 in their groups. We expected nothing less from the second seed from France, and they dispatch Intrepid Fox.
Pretty crushing victory, in all honesty. There was one little moment, one or two, where it was like, maybe, but in all honesty, it was convincing. It was very convincing for me, who was starting to have some doubts about the LFL. They still mean business, and they're very competent. And I think what I loved seeing the most, really, because bluezor absolutely had a great game, but HustlinbeasT was
God, yes.
He had no off button that game. He was like, I am going in. He's not a KDA player, I can say that for sure. He just does not care. He is like, I am engaging. I am going. And he found a lot of good engages, but I think just the whole team knew what the win condition was. And I think even Shemek obviously had a very subdued performance. He knew that all he needed to do was just not die.
Well, you mentioned it. Even before we went into draft, you were like, this is a bot lane party. Like, yeah. I'm expecting bot lane. And right off the get-go, level 1 it happened, and they continued, like, tenderizing meat. They were just slapping and slapping. Yeah. And honestly, it felt like they were never relenting, and it just gave them so many advantages.
And I love to see it, because sometimes I see a win condition and it's like, you know, teams play to it, they don't play to it. This is like the extremity. This is like, there is nothing but the win condition. It's all consuming, and it worked. And ultimately, the fact that they didn't let up didn't give much space for Intrepid Fox, because I think despite this looking very one-sided, this is, you know, our reigning region coming in. It is GamersOrigin, who is their second seed, against Intrepid Fox, who this was a favored matchup towards them. And I think we still have to sort of say that Intrepid Fox at least did have some moments.
Yes.
They did have some moments where we saw potentially where against maybe a weaker team or a team who didn't crush them so hard in the early game, there could have been some life, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, absolutely not. Look, guys, that is it for the day. We are going to go to a quick break, and when we're back, we will look towards tomorrow as well as break down that game ever so slightly. We'll see you soon. Welcome back. We're winding down for the day here at the European Masters, day 2 of our group stages, and we just saw GamersOrigin dismember Intrepid Fox.
I like it.
I think it's the very visceral kind of looking at what happened that game. Like you said, there was definitely some potential for Intrepid Fox, but honestly from the get-go.
And if we're talking dismemberment, they started by cutting off the legs because they looked straight to the bot lane.
Okay, you went graphic and then you've got... I went graphic and you went even more graphic.
We're all in here, just like GamersOrigin in this game. They really hit. They really hit them hard from this level 1. LeBron tries to navigate the play as best he can, but in all honesty, this was one moment from many where we saw GamersOrigin go hard and to punish this bot lane to an extreme degree. And it was just great. These engages from HustlinbeasT, consistent throughout the game, always looking for them. And not only just set up SMILEY for success, but also bluezor, who, you know, we'll see this play once more, this penta kill, but it's just the fact that he is unchecked here, doing so much damage, cleaning up these team fights, and there's no one really there to answer.
bluezor, he played an excellent game as well. You know, we talked a little bit about him at the start of the game, where he's a very experienced European Masters jungler. the Rift Herald swag right at the end. You know, he actually does sweeper straight after, by the way.
The thing is, you also saw toucouille sweeper at the same time.
Yeah.
So my mind is telling me that it is a sweeper. He was going for the sweeper and he misclicked. But really, I want it to be the swag points. I want it to be the sending the message, the power move of throwing down the Herald.
This is the final fight that you saw here. At this point, like, the gold difference was just too difficult. HustlinbeasT hooks, my man. That dude.
Yeah, but you say it's a final fight. A fight implies there are two sides. That was them cleaning up a decisive game from GamersOrigin, but they still have fighting to do in their group. They're tied up with Fnatic Rising, and that will be a big match between them. Yeah,
well, obviously Fnatic Rising have the first win over them, but with the way that mousesports absolutely dismantled them earlier in the day, you know, Fnatic Rising are going to have to be doing a lot of hard work to make sure they're back on top form for that particular matchup. These are the groups, by the way. Group A, you can see KyckNeoSurf and Samsung Morningstars. That was the surprise today. That was LDLC that I think went down to Samsung in that game. They looked really good, and that's an interesting Group A that we've got going on there. Group B, we haven't seen as much from them either, with Movistars and Gamer Legion at the top. Group C, Misfits Premier taking the lead. With that win, Vodafone Giants have put themselves back in the mix. Unfortunately, Pompa down at 0-2, and you can see over at Group D, mousesports, the dominant team with GamersOrigin and Fnatic currently 1-1, and Intrepid Fox down at 0-2. And talking of tomorrow, we have our schedule here. The day will be opened up with Fnatic Rising versus Intrepid Fox. Then we're going to have an absolute banger of GamersOrigin versus mousesports. Following up, Mobistar Riders versus... Loads of good games tomorrow, by the way. Mobistar Riders versus Gamer Legion. Ego Rogue versus Sup-Up. Schalke Evolution versus LDLC, which on paper should be a good matchup. And then KyckNeoSurf versus Morningstar.
Yeah, and obviously Morningstar's heavy favourites after... Okay, maybe not, but...
But not as... I mean, realistically, Italy have done themselves proud because this is... I mean, I think Outplayed made it out of the groups before, I think it was summer 2018. But we haven't seen much from Italy since that point. And Samsung Morningstars, that was the most interesting draft I think we've seen today, maybe barring the Fnatic
It's a very similar roster for LDLC from last split when they won.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was like, oh, they got a fluky... They just crushed them. Yeah. They really had a convincing game where, you know, they drafted well, played the win conditions, and realistically, LDLC didn't. So, I mean, even if it doesn't go to them beating Kick, which would be crazy. I love that. But even if it doesn't get to that point, it's still a huge statement for the region. Just that one win.
Absolutely. Now, as you may have seen on the screen, if you are just tuning in now and you've missed the action, will be a rebroadcast on this channel, twitch.tv/EU Masters. Lots of great games today. I thoroughly recommend that you go and watch them through because we had some, as I said, bangers through today. But that is going to be it for us today at day 2. Join us back tomorrow at 6 p.m. CEST for day 3. We'll see you there.